Star Wars wouldn't just feel different without John Williams' music, it would be different. Because when people talk about Star Wars, they talk about lightsabers, the Force, the Skywalkers, but the thing that makes those moments stick, the thing that makes them feel timeless, isn't just the visuals, it's the music. And here's the uncomfortable truth. Take John Williams out of Star Wars, and a lot of its most iconic scenes simply don't work the way we remember them. So here's the real question. Is Star Wars iconic because of its story, or because John Williams taught us how to feel that story? Let's start at the beginning. When George Lucas made A New Hope, Star Wars wasn't meant to feel modern. It was designed to feel mythic, like a space opera, closer to old fantasy epics than 1970 sci-fi. And John Williams understood that instantly. Instead of synthesizers or futuristic sounds, he leaned into full orchestral themes, something Hollywood was already moving away from at the time. This mattered because Star Wars isn't subtle storytelling, it's emotional storytelling. And Williams didn't just score scenes, he gave characters identities, destinies, and emotional weight, often before the script did itself. And nowhere is that clearer than in the original trilogy. The original trilogy works because its music guides the audience. The Force theme isn't just heroic, it's hopeful, curious, longing. It tells us who Luke is before he does anything heroic. Darth Vader's Imperial March doesn't just signal danger, it tells us Vader is inevitable, mechanical, relentless. And John Williams used repetition intentionally. Themes return, evolve, and clash, just like the characters. A perfect example is Return of the Jedi. The film's ending wasn't always what we know today, and while fans still debate special editions, that musical choice matters. Why? Because it reframes the ending. Instead of a more quiet, reflective close, the music reinforces celebration, unity across the galaxy, and earned victory. A fairy tale ending for a myth that needed emotional closure. Williams wasn't just enhancing scenes, he was shaping how history remembered them. But then, Star Wars did something bold. It went backwards. The prequel trilogy is often criticised for dialogue, pacing, and overuse of CGI. But musically, it might be John Williams at his most ambitious. This is where music starts carrying subtext. Take Duel of the Fates. It's not just a fight theme, it's a prophecy. The choir lyrics are literally about destiny, about a battle that will decide Anakin's future. And here's the key point. The scene works because the music tells us what's at stake emotionally, even when the characters don't. Later, in Revenge of the Sith, Battle of the Heroes does something even more devastating. Anakin versus Obi-Wan isn't just action, it's tragedy. The music mourns the fight as it's happening. Williams scores it like a funeral before anyone has died, because he understands that this moment isn't about who wins, it's about what's lost. Without that score, the duel is impressive. With it, it's heartbreaking. But this leads us to something deeper. John Williams didn't just score Star Wars, he unified it. Across trilogies, decades, and wildly different filmmaking styles, his music became the connective tissue. Even when stories stumbled, the music anchored the saga emotionally. And this becomes even clearer in the Disney era. The sequel trilogy reintroduced old themes. Luke's theme, Leia's theme, the Force motif, and every time they appear, the audience reacts. Not because of nostalgia alone, but because those themes carry meaning. They remind us what Star Wars felt like, which leads to a critical realization. Star Wars isn't just remembered because it explains mythology well, it's remembered because John Williams emotionally narrates it. The music tells us when to hope, when to fear, when to grieve, when to believe again. That's why moments with minimal dialogue, binary sunsets, silent stares, final embraces, hit so hard. The music does the talking, and this is why replacing John Williams was never really an option. Even new composers are still working inside his language, because Star Wars doesn't just need music, it needs musical mythology, and John Williams wrote it. Star Wars will continue, with or without legacy characters, familiar planets, or Skywalker bloodlines. But if it forgets what John Williams understood, it loses something essential. Because Star Wars isn't about complexity, it's about emotion. And John Williams didn't just score Star Wars' biggest moments, he made them timeless. So when people say Star Wars doesn't feel the same anymore, they are often not talking about plots or characters, they're talking about a feeling created by a man who understood that in a galaxy far, far away, music isn't background, it's the Force itself. And maybe that's why, as long as Star Wars remembers how it's meant to feel, it will always matter. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed that, then check out one of our recent videos. And hit subscribe, so you never miss another Star Wars discussion.